I'm Molly Densmore, and I hate motorcycles.
Welcome to Grumble Goat. My name is Matt Labodka, and this is a show about all the small things that drive me insane. Let's grumble.
I already feel lame. I feel like, it's like, what's your problem? It's so fun. They're a fun midlife crisis tool. Here's the thing. You're a midlife crisis tool. Get off the motorcycle. Look, I've been on one a couple times. I think they're fun to have in the country. But if you have one in the city, you're a word I can't say. They're loud, and I'm 100 years old. I'm 33, but I've always hated loud noises. I've always lived on the top floor of an apartment, and they will still wake me up. They're so loud, and people who love motorcycles are like, yo, that one just doesn't have a muffler. Show me one with a muffler. I want to hear. I've never heard a remotely quiet one. You're just a. I feel like they're inconsiderate. I get it. You're going through a midlife crisis, and I get how you have to go through more. You need a separate license, and it's the whole thing. But you're making everybody nervous, and it is a red flag for dating. I'm going to admit something to you guys. I kind of am attracted to it. And I like if a guy rides a motorcycle, especially if I'm ovulating, because when I hear somebody has a motorcycle, I'm like, you are impulsive. You don't care about danger. You're the type of dude, like, you know how like white dudes need to like jump off of cliffs to feel anything because their lives are so good. Whereas most other people are like, no, I'm good. I have enough anxiety to last me through the day. I don't need to jump off a cliff. Thank you. Going outside is enough for me. It's, you know what? It's narcissistic. I think that's also, it's like, look at me. And look, I'm a comedian. That's probably the most narcissistic thing you can do. You get up with a microphone and you're like, everybody listen to me. I have the talking stick. And if you don't listen, I'm going to yell at you. And also, I was specifically told to not mention genitalia, which was a little weird. Like when I was like, what can I say on this podcast? The note was like, no genitals. I'm like, who's coming in here? I think that's all I have to say about motorcycles. It's a red flag, but also it's like, oh, it's kind of hot. Like it's dangerous. Who am I to judge you? Psychotic. I'm Molly Densmore signing off, and I hate motorcycles. Yeah. That's a Britney Spears impression. And that's the grumble.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
What?
Grumble, 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 grumble. What's got your goat?
For the latter half of the show, we'll bring in my better half, Veronique, for an unpretentious look and a segment we call
What's got your goat?
Are you ready for this?
I've never been more ready for anything in my entire life.
Well, we have a guest here today.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah, she arrived.
I thought she was a supervisor that was making sure we were doing our job right.
Well, we need to be checked. We have Molly Densmore in the house today.
I give a supervisor vibe or like a hall monitor.
Very much so. Now, was the sash intentionally part of your outfit?
It was. I wanted you to know I meant business. I wear a sash everywhere I go.
Yeah. They say dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
Right. I am not a monitor, but I aspire to be.
Or a beauty queen.
Both.
Whatever.
Now,
They're the same thing.
but the job you do have is comedian, right?
Job is a loose term. I feel like maybe in New York, it's very hard. You have to make money other ways. Maybe if you tour, you can make some money. But even that, like I love this comedian, Jessica Curson, and she like just got a special. And then she's like a day later, I'm, doing material in a McDonald's. It's a miserable life. Don't do it. Everybody, if you're listening and you want to, it's a terrible idea. It's insane. My last show was in a pool hall, which is a great audience.
Yeah.
People playing.
Did people listen now?
Because I like to play pool. But the one thing I hate when I'm playing pool is a band or a comedian in the bar. Like,
it's very 80s. It's not a good idea. It's very 80s and 90s to ambush people while they're doing activities. So they kind of try to section off a part of it.
I love when they section off a corner of the bar for the stand-up, and then you go there, and there's 4 other people in that section, and they're all just waiting for their 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a very...
Yes, comedians performing for other comedians.
Yeah.
Great crowd. It's
great.
It's a great crowd.
Yeah.
It's a very different crowd. Comedians laugh at different things.
Do you have any shows coming up?
Yes, I do. Well, one is tomorrow, and I imagine your listeners, they
won't hear it.
this.
They won't hear it today, so they don't know what tomorrow means.
Called Medium Famous. I would love to do more of that.
Do you post to Twitter or Instagram or something?
I have Instagram. It's at Dolly Mensmore.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Dolly Mensmore is my 1920s stripper name.
Okay.
which is just my name.
Was that one of those
reversed.
online quizzes? Like it's the street you grew up on and the
No, well, my name's Molly Densmore. My friend always called me Dolly Mensmore, and I was like, that sounds like a porn star from the 20s.
Love that.
So, who would be like terrible at all sex acts, like because it was back in the day. She'd be like, I give blowies with extra teeth, but men would they would like it.
Yeah.
So that's who Dolly Mensmore is, and also now it's also my Instagram handle.
But you do have a reoccurring show that you usually post about.
So during the pandemic, which I guess is
Hang on,
technically
let's just take a quick second to let this motorcycle go by.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
during the Pandy Wandy.
Now, when you say Pandy Wandy, what you're talking about is the plague raging through the land.
The plague, the terrible plague, the pandemic or Pandy Wandy.
The Pandy Wandy.
My friend and I had a show called Happy Time Apocalypse. And we tried to do our first show at this gorgeous bar that my friend co-owns. It's a recent thing, and now he co-owns this beautiful bar called Low High, which they advertise as being in Williamsburg, but it's like Bushwick. It's a
It sounds like he couldn't quite determine what the altitude was of.
It wasn't his. I mean, it's like in the marketing of the place. But
Low
he, oh, I get that. Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Silly.
But it's a beautiful rooftop bar, and we wanted to. It's half. It can be inside or outside, depending on the weather. But if it's that bad, like it was during the hurricane, they
Right.
shut it down.
It all depends on whether the barometer is low or high.
You like puns, don't you? You're a pun guy.
He's a pun guy.
You're a pun guy.
Oh yeah, he loves words. Have you read the descriptions of each episode? I'll just save that for you.
But you perform at the Low High?
Yeah. So our first show, again, it was supposed to be last Wednesday, but then there was a hurricane. It's a really good venue.
Amazing.
Heck
All right,
yeah,
well,
love that.
We'll keep an eye on your Instagram to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how's life been? You just mentioned the Pandy Wandy. What have you been up to during the Pandy Wandy?
Oh my God, crying. No, I mean, sure, sometimes. God, I hate when people are like, I had a great pandemic. I'm like, shut up.
I know.
I loved the miserable suffering that everybody else had to live
That's
through.
what it is. I'm like, even if yours was great, you're a sociopath if you say that.
That's right.
Because the world was bad. It was great. I loved it. Like, I met the love of my life, and I got famous, and I made a lot of money and bought a house. I'm like, I don't care. I mean, good for you.
I've always just loved the idea of population control. I felt like that really took, we needed some direction.
Yeah.
You're gonna, yeah.
Anyway, we had a great pandemic.
We had structure to our day.
Had a great pandemic. Yeah. What was the question? We did have to stop the podcast for a second for something that was my grumble. There was something outside.
Are you talking about motorcycles?
Are you talking about
Ding, 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 ding. Ding, ding, ding.
Well, being the host of a podcast, I can get behind hating the rampant amount of motorcycles that take over the streets of New York. On the other hand, as a motorcycle owner and operator,
Yeah.
Sorry. The whole thing
I have to defend them.
You're going to hate me at this rate.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it because you know what? Motorcycles are terrifying.
Tell the listeners about your experience on a motorcycle.
Okay, the first time I was ever on a motorcycle was Matt's motorcycle with Matt. But it's because I trust him so much that I will get on a motorcycle with him. And I have always felt safe with him, except when it was raining. It was like a slight mist and the road got slick. And then we started sliding and
No sliding. For the
oh my gosh, that's what he says. He was driving. We were
I was
sliding.
maneuvering from the dryer patches.
Oh my gosh, I never held on so much. Anyway, so then he left it at my friend Sam's.
I was able to house it in Cape May during the Pandy Wandy.
You know what I hate is the sound. What I hate is the sound.
That was really my grumble. I mean, it went into all sorts of stuff that you're going to be very upset about when you listen to it. I think
I
that's
love
so fun.
that.
Where do you put it?
It's right out front. Now, when I lived in
But luckily, we are in a motorcycle-friendly neighborhood, as no one in the podcast ever hears the motorcycles that go by, but there are plenty of motorcycles that go by.
I have to
constantly.
leave some of these sound effects in.
Oh, now
you have to.
Yeah.
Now you have to.
Exactly, because we're talking about it. And you know what? It's been a grumble that we grumble about every single week.
Every single week.
And you're part of the problem, Matt. And you need to
But his
acknowledge
motorcycle isn't that loud.
Yeah.
It's okay, but I talked about that too. That people always say you just haven't heard one with a muffler. I'm like, where is one with a muffler?
Well,
Well, that's the thing. They purposely do that because, in the words of my father, they want to get laid.
it's a mating call.
Is that what it is? It's a mating call?
That's what my dad told me.
I mean,
he's not wrong,
that
but
makes
I
sense.
talk about that too, and what earlier. It's a thing that I don't like about myself, but it's.
I mean, I'm sorry, Molly. Are you attracted to someone on a?
But see, I was ranting about it, and then I was like, it's just douchey. It's like it's so loud. Can you just admit you're having a midlife crisis? Like, why?
But he got his motorcycle 10 years ago.
But you were having a midlife crisis at 22.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you just? They're rude.
No.
They are rude to drivers. I know you have to get an extra license.
I remember the first time that Matt asked me to get on a motorcycle, and I, in my head, was like, this is a make or break moment. I like him. I really like him. I got to get on the motorcycle. We just go right on the highway, right up the Palisades, and I was like, a whole new world, right?
Do you trust me?
I'm gonna vomit.
What are we calling it? The pandy dandy?
Bandy dandy. The dandy pandy.
The dandy pandy.
Welcome to the Dandy Pandy. Experience all the horrors of the Dandy Pandy of the 2020.
Well, okay. So I'm interested in this because I feel like it's so hacky to be like straight like us. Bleh. But I do think there's something. It is. It's like we get it. You can't help how you're born. That there's something. I feel like it's kind of on par with how most of the people who like jump out of planes and off cliffs.
I don't know how
straight
they
white
do
dudes.
that.
I think you just want to feel something.
I need to attempt to die in order to live my life.
Yeah.
If I were to jump out a plane, I would completely poopy my pants.
I'm feeling personally attacked right now.
I know.
He's jumped out of a plane too.
Of course, but this is the thing. Unless I'm drunk and he's very hot, and I'm like, okay,
Okay.
Do you have a helmet?
I'll die. Who cares?
Let me touch your throttle.
Ooh. Okay. I just thought my heels got hot.
What?
On the motorcycle. I'm sorry, if you've been on the back of a motorcycle,
Because that's where her feet go.
my feet go right above the muffler and it gets hot. I even got platform sneakers.
I want to go on one now that you said that. Yeah, I'm like,
Well, he's a really
Let's
good
all take a ride.
driver.
It's right outside.
Do you think being on a motorcycle and that constant vibration on your genitals, do you think that
I
would...
specifically told
hit
her
one
not to talk about genitals.
Can we talk about this? Is it our horses? Is it our horse? Is it like, are you like a horse girl but a man?
well, sometimes when I'm on the back of the motorcycle, I feel like I am a horse girl.
Okay. I wasn't a horse girl, but I might as well have been a horse girl.
I've
No.
always wanted a horse, but then when I went to a riding school, I didn't get on the horse. I chose to
you considered
dance.
yourself
and
a
stuff.
horse girl and then never got on a horse?
Well, I guess I just didn't think that was my path. You know,
Yeah, it's a very specific identity.
specific identity that I was like, I have a braid. I don't need anything else.
it's like
Yeah, that's all you need.
they always say, you can lead a horse girl to a horse.
What's her name? What's your motorcycle's name?
Saphira?
Ugh.
Molly, what's the scariest thing you've done in your life?
God, I'm doing stand up, which is maybe, but like people are like, you're brave. And I'm like, I don't think
But
it's-
it doesn't matter what you're talking about with stand up. I think doing stand up is terrifying.
Well, it's
You
like
know?
I don't also know if this is true, but it makes sense that like the reason people are so afraid of public speaking is that when we were back in like caveman times,
Yes,
it
let's
meant
talk
that
about
you were
that.
like speaking in front of a group of people. It meant that you were defending your life. Like you were going in front of the tribe and you're like, hear me out.
Don't
Don't kill
stone
me.
me.
I did not eat. I didn't steal the berries. Like, don't. It's fine. And then they would decide if they would kill you or not. And maybe that's why people still have that anxiety with it. So there's something messed up.
It's been generationally passed down to us.
It makes sense. That's why people are more afraid of it than death. So there is a risk taker thing to be like, I want to do the thing, but I don't like jumping off of stuff. I hate the feeling.
Oh my
of falling.
gosh. Do you think that we've
That's
all
why-
died before and that's why we are okay with talking in front of people?
Kinda.
That we've had to do it before?
Molly, you didn't answer my question. What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
I think really probably the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Just like even going like statistically, being a young woman and going with a stranger anywhere is a very bad idea.
Very
So,
scary.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
why I stopped drinking liquor.
Yeah, don't go to a second location.
I've taken young single women places before, and I was like, how dare they trust me?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You got on my motorcycle.
I certainly did because I was like, I want this relationship to go somewhere.
and then you went somewhere.
This has been an episode of Grumble Goat.
Thanks for listening.
I'm Matt Labatka.
I'm Veronique Hurley. Please subscribe.
I hate when people say please subscribe.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
I'm going to admit something to you guys. I kind of am attracted to it.